And Tim Barter of Sky Sports joins us now from Rome and the site of Marco Simone this week. Listen, Tim, I imagine a lot of American golf fans, Ryder Cup fans, are concerned that Luke Donald is going to have this golf course playing like Le Golf National in Paris. How similar are the golf courses in your mind?
Well, they're not particularly similar, but certainly in the way they're set up, he's trying to make it like that. Obviously, Paris National was set up with very narrow fairways, very penal rough, trying to take away the advantage of the bombers and taking the situation where strategy and accuracy was really the key at Paris National. It worked very, very well for Team Europe, obviously, and they're trying to recreate that here. And I've been out and looked at the golf course over the last couple of days, and they're setting it up similarly to the way it will be for the Ryder Cup. And the rough, again, is extremely penal. Just off the fairway, it gets very deep very quickly, and the fairways are pretty narrow, 20, 22 yards in a lot of places. Yeah, it's very similar in the way they're trying to set it up, but it is a kind of different style of golf course. It's still quite, an American style in a way, a bit like Paris National, in that there's quite a lot of water, big undulating greens, relatively flat fairway bunkers, but very undulating ground. This is a golf course which is really hilly, so a lot of uphill and down dale, a lot of things to be factored in when you're hitting your approach shots into the green with the huge changes of elevation.
Tim, there are a bunch of guys playing this week who are in the frame to qualify for the European team. They're not quite there yet, like Victor Perez, Rob McIntyre, the Højgaard twins. Do you think a quality performance this week, even something shy of winning, will count more with Luke Donald given where they're competing?
Yeah, I'm absolutely certain of that. And I had a chat with Rob McIntyre yesterday, and we were sort of joking the fact that having won here last year, he's defending champion on this golf course. If he was to win again this week, he would be a lock. I mean, you can't ignore a guy that won twice on the Ryder Cup golf course. So even if he didn't qualify by right through points, I think he would be absolutely certain to make the team. And I think Luke Donald is looking for form on this golf course because it is quite an unusual course. It's a course I think the players will benefit from knowing it. I think he's paying particular attention to the guys that play well on this course. He's got 6 picks after all, so he's got a very open hand in terms of who he's able to pick, and I think course form will be important.
Speaking of picks, Tim, there's been talk about how this team should be made up in terms of Team Europe, whether live golfers should be allowed or not. Rory saying not necessarily, no, really, in terms of Sergio. Jon Rahm saying, how can you not have Sergio Garcia? Does Jon Rahm winning a green jacket give his voice more weight in this discussion?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jon Rahm is obviously a player that ranking #1 in the world now, a Masters champion, a double major champion. And Europe have always talked a lot to their senior players about the way they go about Ryder Cup. They have a formula in place, and part of that formula is very definitely to talk to the senior players, particularly about the guys that are picked and the chemistry and the pairings that they're looking towards. So his advice will definitely be sought after from Luke Donald and listened to.
Keith Pelley was on the show last week, Tim, and he said that he's very much not getting involved in captain's picks, that it's Luke Donald's issue. But he did point out that one of the caveats that Luke Donald will consider is team chemistry. Do you see a scenario, given the team chemistry issue, where Luke Donald could potentially pick some of the live guys to join that team in September?
I think it's unlikely, to be honest. I think, obviously it's going to be very difficult for them to qualify by right, so they'll probably need a pick. And I think team chemistry obviously is a massive part of it. He'll discuss it with the other players and look at the possible candidates that are playing on the Live Tour. And, he needs the strongest team he can put together because America are going to have an incredibly strong team again. So he's definitely looking for his best 12 European players. But whether that chemistry thing comes into it, I think it's definitely going to be part of it. I personally can't see Luke picking anybody from Live, but if somebody makes a strong enough case with their performances there and he thinks it gives us more of a chance to win, I'm sure he's going to have to consider it.
Well, Rory McIlroy has been very pro PGA Tour. He's in the field this week on the PGA Tour at Quail Hollow. What was your takeaway from his disappointment at the Masters, Tim?
I just think the mental hurdle is too big for him. He's trying to achieve something that only 5 guys in history have achieved in completing the career Grand Slam, and it just appears that mentally he can't get over that hurdle, and I feel for him. He's been a close friend of mine for a long time, and he just turns up there and thinks, right, this is the opportunity. Once a year I get an opportunity to join the true greats of the game, and I think it's just too much for him at the moment. And I think possibly what will happen is, he's in great form. He should win at Augusta. We know that. I interviewed him shortly after he blew the one that he had a big lead on going into the back 9. So it seems incredible that he's never won at Augusta. But I think the weight of expectation in his own mind, as well as everybody else's, of going to Augusta, having the chance to join those historic characters is just a little bit too much for him. Maybe he'll do an O'Meara. Maybe he'll get to 40, 42, and actually nobody will be thinking about him winning the Masters and he'll pop up and do it. It's unimaginable to me that he can't complete. I mean, he richly deserves it. But right now, the mental side is what's stopping him, because his game is obviously ticking boxes everywhere.
Rory obviously playing a designated event in Charlotte, North Carolina this week, Tim, as are a lot of the best players in the world. No prominent Americans in the field at Marco Simone at all. A lot of prominent Europeans are in that field. Do you think there's any disadvantage to the Americans in not really having seen the golf course? Whereas it seems as though every venue that Europe has Ryder Cup success at, whether it's the Golf National, Celtic Manor, the K Club, it's been a European Tour venue for years and they're intimately familiar with it.
Yeah, I think that's a huge factor. And I know there's a massive tournament in America and it's pretty difficult for the guys to come over and play it. But if you notice, the only person who came to Paris to play in the French Open in advance of the Ryder Cup was Justin Thomas, and he was your leading point scorer. I don't think that's coincidence. I think he came, he understood the golf course, which is a very different challenge than the one he would face in America. And I think they would have benefited, and they will maybe come over and play it in advance. They maybe take a trip over, as I think they did to the K Club that one time. They came over in advance and played a few rounds of golf on it, and I think that would be incredibly valuable. I personally hope they don't do it, so we do have an advantage. But you know, when you consider that our European guys, some of them will have played it 2 or 3 times in tournaments, so 12, 15, 20 rounds around this golf course. Rory played last time in the Italian Open last year. Hovland played, Fitzpatrick played. So they're familiar with the golf course already, and I think that's very significant. It's not coincidental that 7 of the last 8 Ryder Cups have been won by the home team, and the one that wasn't was the Miracle at Medina, and that was a miracle. So home team advantage is huge. And I think on this golf course, you really do want to see it in advance, but I hope they don't come.
Ryder Cup will be here before you know it. Tim, thanks for the time. Enjoy the week in Italy.
Really appreciate being on, guys. Enjoy your programs, and I wish you luck in the future. Thanks.